Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our final board meeting of 2025. My name is Barb McCaffrey Brochu, and I am honored to serve as the board chair. The Board of Trustees wishes each and every one of you a rejuvenating winter break and Christmas season to those of you who celebrate. Since taking office, we've heard that policy is important to our stakeholders, and so it is with our Board of Trustees. We want to flag this important aspect for the public. We embarked on our policy review journey last week as a group, and will continue to update you through our meetings. And with that, I will turn it over to Trustee Berkner, who will do our land acknowledgement. Before I do that, I'd just like to welcome our guests that are here today. Thank you.
Trustee Berkner, Ward 1. Sturgeon Public Schools respectfully acknowledges that we teach, learn, and grow together on Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis. We honor and respect the history, languages, ceremonies, and cultures of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples who have called this land home for countless generations. We recognize the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and Inuit for their care, love, and stewardship of this place. We are grateful for those who share their knowledge with us and help to foster a respectful relationship with all of our relatives on this land. We are committed to understanding the harms done in the name of education and continuing to learn to honor the true spirit of Treaty 6 as a promise of friendship, collaboration, and a peaceful alliance.
Thank you, Trustee Berkner. We will now move to item 3, which is the approval of the agenda. Is there someone who would be willing to make that motion, please? Trustee Briggs.
Cindy Briggs, Ward 2. I approve the agenda as presented.
Are there any objections? That would be carried unanimously. Moving to item number 4, the approval of the minutes. Are there any errors or omissions in this area? Trustee O'Shea.
Trustee O'Shea, Ward 4. I would just like to make an amendment under the trustee reports, and probably a miscommunication on my part that I did not submit all of the dates and the meetings that I attended. So I would like to forward those to the admin and just ask that they be included in the agenda, or in the minutes, I'm sorry, from November 25th.
Thank you. That is possible? All right. Could we have a motion then to approve the minutes as amended, or will be amended? Trustee Buga.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of November 25th, 2025, with the addition of Trustee O'Shea's engagements.
Thank you, Trustee Buga. Next, a motion, please, trustees, for the approval of the minutes of the special board meeting for December 11th, 2025. All in favor of the approval of the minutes of November 2025 with the suggested edits? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Trustee Buga. Now we are looking for the approval of the minutes of the special board meeting of December 11th, 2025. Is there a motion? Trustee Reid.
Trustee Reid, Ward 6. I move the approval of the minutes of the special board meeting held on December 11th, 2025, as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Reid. Are there any objections to that? Carried unanimously. Moving now to item number 5 on our agenda, business arising from the minutes. Seeing none, we will move forward to item number 6, which is presentations and delegations. And with this, we would invite our ATA representative, David McIntyre, to present his report. Thank you for joining us today, David, on such a wonderful day.
Yes, thank you. the company in here is better than the weather outside. So, which is pretty easy to say. Yeah, good afternoon, trustees, members of senior administration, and those in attendance. Thank you for having me. As we approach the winter break, I want to begin by recognizing the work happening in schools across the division. Over the past weeks, teachers and staff have been deeply engaged in holiday concerts, performances, school-based events that bring families and communities together. These moments take significant time and effort, and they reflect the care teachers continue to show for their students and school communities, even at the end of a demanding time. I also want to express appreciation for the division's work in ensuring retroactive pay is being distributed as quickly as possible to active teachers, inactive teachers, substitute teachers, and terminated teachers in a way that is as timely as possible. So appreciate that effort that is being made. It's definitely being noticed and appreciated by staff, especially close to the holidays. I'd like to continue passing along gratitude for the support that has been communicated by the trustees at the previous board meeting, particularly those of Trustee O'Shea and Trustee Buga. Those messages were received warmly and contributed to a sense of optimism around the new board. I want to share one piece of feedback I received from teachers related to the recent message from the Minister of Education that was shared with families through the division and also provided to teachers for awareness. Teachers appreciate being kept informed about communication sent to parents, as that transparency helps maintain trust and alignment within our schools. At the same time, some teachers express concern when reading that message through the lens of their role as public school educators. It felt tone deaf to many, particularly those working daily in diverse classrooms where schools are meant to be safe and welcoming spaces for all students and families from a variety of faith backgrounds. The concern raised was about the responsibility of public education to remain inclusive and avoid privileging any single belief system. This feedback reinforces the importance of the shared responsibility between the division and teachers to support inclusive environments for all students and families, and reflects how deeply our teachers care about all of their students and their commitment to public education in a diverse province. Teachers have given everything that they've had over the past months, and the upcoming break will be a much needed and well-deserved time for rest and connection. As we head into the break, I want to wish the trustees, senior administration, and all staff a restful holiday season spent with loved ones, and I look forward to continuing this work together in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your message. Very, very well received. And we also would like to extend the board's wishes for a very rejuvenating break. Well deserved for everybody, of course. And we hope that you come back fresh. Thank you so much. Trustee O'Shea.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your report, and thank you for bringing that messaging back from teachers regarding the minister's letter and the exclusion of all people who we serve in public schools. We are a public school board that tries to meet the needs of all kids, of all faiths, of all religions, and I appreciate you bringing that to the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee O'Shea. Any other comments or questions? No hard questions for you today, David. Thank you so much. All right, we will now move on to action items, and number 7.1 is the presentation of the draft annual education results report summary. And we are turning this over to Superintendent.
Thank you, Chair. I will be turning this over to our Director of Curriculum and Instruction to walk through the AERR.
Thank you, Superintendent. Michael Graham, Director of Curriculum and Instruction. I'm going to walk everybody through a little bit of our AERR report. This report fulfills the school division's public accountability requirements and reports on the progress that's aligned to the board-approved 2024 to 2027 education plan. Looking on page 5 of the report, you can see that the report draws on a strong evidence base, including our provincial achievement and completion data, as well as the Alberta Education Assurance survey results, extensive local surveys, and stakeholder engagements. This should provide the board with assurance that the conclusions are grounded in multiple reliable data sources. Our results reflect the three goals that we had in the 2024-2025 school year. They're outlined on page 6. Those goals being empowered student and staff learning, healthy and safe school communities, and responsible leadership and opportunity. While we also recognize that updated goals were approved by the board in May 2025, and those goals now inform our future direction. More to that, as provincial and local measures were released throughout the year in the previous school year, early results informed revisions to the division's planning and supported the development of the 2025-2028 education plan, including the evolution of that third goal to be more along the lines of future readiness. With the full set of measures now incorporated, this AERR will provide the board with a comprehensive evidence base to support ongoing oversight and the development of the next education plan for 2026 to 2029. This AERR report is organized according to our 3 goals. And so our first goal starts on page 10, and it's all about empowered student and staff learning. It focuses on ensuring that students are experiencing engaging and meaningful learning, while educators are confident, supported, and equipped to respond to diverse learning needs. Reflects our commitment to strong instruction, effective assessment, and pathways that support student success. A little bit of context as we interpret some of these results. It's important to note that this year's grade 6 provincial achievement tests were the first ones that were aligned with the renewed curriculum, and so many assessments were not administered province-wide. As a result, some of the provincial comparability for grade 6 results is limited and needs to be interpreted with caution. Along that, we actually do see some positive successes going through this report. Looking at high school completion, a little bit on page 10, as well as in more depth on page 13, you'll see that Sturgeon Public Schools remains above the provincial average, including for our Indigenous students, and that reflects the impact of the flexible pathways and targeted supports that we have in place. We also have some data, some successful data showing our provincial literacy and numeracy interventions are showing positive results. Again, those are being supported by the high level of staff confidence and their ability to support their student learning. Looking on page 16 and 17, we get into one area that I'll say we have an area for growth. So we have some achievement at the highest level, so that excellence level of provincial achievement tests and diploma exams, remaining fairly inconsistent year over year, particularly when you look at junior high and senior high mathematics. And so that's a continuing area for us to continue to support our schools and our teachers. Are there any questions on the first goal, or should I continue forward?
Seeing no questions, we'll ask you to continue. Thank you very much, Michael.
The second goal starts on page 21, is all about healthy, safe school communities. It focuses on our on creating learning environments where students and staff feel safe, cared for, included, and respected. It reflects our shared responsibility to support student well-being, citizenship, belonging, and reconciliation through strong relationships and responsive supports. Again, a little bit of context as we interpret some of these data points. Several of our stakeholder surveys occurred during the active CUPE job action in the spring. And during this period, key support staff were not present in schools, which likely could have influenced some of the perceptions related to access to supports, school climate, and overall wellness, as some of those supports were physically not in the building. Still, looking on page 21 and 22 at the provincial measures, we can continue to see some strong strengths in our school climate and relationships. School staff are reporting high levels of safety, care, inclusivity, and respect across the school communities, and students are consistently reporting positive relationships with their teachers. There's also been a significant growth in our Indigenous education and truth and reconciliation efforts, particularly in staff confidence and instructional practice. And that reflects our sustained system-wide focus and our leadership. At the same time, if you look on page 23, we do have another one of those areas where we can continue to support. We have our schools that are remaining caring and respectful environments. families continue to express concerns about the mental health supports and services in schools. And so those gaps between staff perceptions and student and parent experiences highlight the need for continued focus on visibility, communication, and equitable access to supports across all of our schools. I will pause again as I shift into this, our last goal.
Thank you. Trustee Buga.
Thank you, Michael. Just something that kind of popped out at me again, the difference in perception between our teachers, our students, and our parents, particularly around the supports. I know timing was key and had a huge factor in the way that this came out. I'm just curious if we're seeing, like, our parent score has always been significantly lower than what our students and our teachers are seeing. I'm just wondering, why do you think, I guess I'm asking for some insight on the data about why our parents' perception has dropped again quite significantly, but our students and our teachers, it's dropped, but they're still feeling supported. I'm just wondering if there's a disconnect in education for the parents on the things that we do provide, or why their interpretation of what's happening in schools is so different than what the students and the teachers are feeling. And maybe is there a gap or an advocacy piece that we can hone in on to make sure that our parents are understanding a little bit clearer so that those numbers are a little more aligned?
Superintendent, through to Michael.
I will just add, just before Michael jumps in, it's a great point on Trustee Buga, and I think it's something we have to continue to look at, because as we know, even when we've had our student advisory talking to students, you guys, this was what the previous board asked the students at, what do you wish your parents knew? And I think that that's always a focus. How do we ensure our parents understand our schools? And also, I think there's also, as well, it was a very challenging time. So if I did have a child with needs, there were no supports in the school. So I think that was one of the impacts. However, as you just stated, it is lower. And I think that a lot of it is to a lot of parents might understand exactly how we're funded and how we're supporting. And then it's that view of what they perceive. And so I think it's important is this a perception, and we have to do a better job of communicating. That's why even as we look at our ed plan now, looking at this is a report card on the past. How do we address that? Because even though there was job action, we need to look at how do we address that? And I will pass it on if Michael would like to add any more.
Thank you, Superintendent. The only thing that I would add is the general feeling that I've seen in my limited time here is generally that families are busy, parents are busy, and there is a disconnect with what parents are hearing from their kids and what they're hearing from the school and what their experience was in school themselves. And I would like to say it's attributed just to our families are busy. They have very busy lives. Kids are involved in lots of different things. Parents are involved in lots of different things. And it's just a good opportunity for us to continue our advocacy and communication with all of our stakeholders, including those parents.
Thank you, Michael. And I will just continue with that line. I think maybe now that loss of relational support is no longer a concern, it would be good to get that messaging out to, make sure that parents do know that those supports are back in place and that, they're there to support our students in many, many ways. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. I will dive into our third goal. Again, this is the third goal starts on page 32. The idea around this goal, it was focusing on preparing students for life beyond school through relevant learning, leadership development, and strong community connections, while ensuring a responsible governance and thoughtful use of our resources. Again, this particular goal was informed by some of our data points that we collected over the course of last year, and it's evolved, as you'll see on next year's AERR report, into that future readiness goal. Still, looking at some of our positive highlights from this report, you'll see that there's some positive momentum in student leadership and real-world learning based on our local survey. Again, it's up here on page 34. Students are increasingly reporting opportunities to lead and volunteer and engage in learning that feels useful and connected to future pathways. This is also supported by expanding the career education, collegiate programming, and the strong partnerships that we've developed with post-secondary institutions and local employers. I will highlight a key strength was some of our stakeholder engagement, which is outlined a little bit on page 38. I'll get up there. There it is. Particularly our business and community engagement event, which is highlighted a few pages forward in the report. This particular engagement brought together 26 local businesses, industry partners, post-secondary institutions, municipalities, and of course our trustees. Those partners clearly express readiness to support mentorship, experiential learning, and early career exposure, reinforcing strong alignment between our community needs and the division's shift towards future readiness. At the same time, parent confidence in how well students are being prepared for life beyond school remains mixed. While opportunities are existing, they're not always visible or clearly understood by all families. And so that would be a continued way that I could see us continuing to develop, just opening up some of those communication lines with our other stakeholders. Overall, Sturgeon Public Schools continues to see strong successes in high school completion, early literacy and numeracy intervention, and growing staff confidence and instructional capacity. Students are increasingly reporting meaningful learning and more opportunities for leadership and engagement. Same time, challenges remain in improving excellence level academic outcomes, strengthening citizenship and school climate perceptions, and addressing the pressures on mental health and learning supports. Together, this highlights a system with clear strengths and a clear direction for focused improvement. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have questions arising from any of these parts? Trustee Briggs and then Trustee O'Shea.
Question from page 12, the engagement detail. So what do you think the primary barriers are for our parents not having engagement within our school communities? Is it schedules? Is it communication? And how are we mitigating this?
That's
Thank you. Superintendent?
I would ask, I think that's even a forward-facing question. So because this is our report card for past. And so Vice Chair Briggs, that's a great question. A question that as we build the ed plan, which will be to address these things, that those are the questions as a board to look to as the ed plan is built, because this was a report card on the past. And so this is our marks based on what we've done. So now that you see that and we see this data, now as we move forward, as we build the ed plan and the board sits in that. So what are some considerations for that as a board? How do we, as we want to bring forward, that is of importance, then that should be built into our ed plan for moving forward to address that as a data point.
Thank you, Superintendent. And very, very good points there. I just think that if you have some insights to offer to us as to what areas we could focus on, that would be very helpful. I think you know that the board is here to support and help you move that along. It's just helpful for us to know what areas we might focus our efforts on. So we will look for further information as we go forward with our plan. Thank you.
Michael, if you would like to continue would you like to add anything to that?
I couldn't say much more than what you said, but I do agree. It's an area that we can look at as we develop the next education plan.
And I guess we're seeing it as the board level, as a division as a whole. So are there more barriers in certain communities than others? Maybe we look at that as a board.
Thank you, Trustee Briggs, and food for thought, I would say, at this point. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other questions? Trustee Shea.
Sure. I just noted that the 3-year high school completion rate has improved significantly, and that was just really good to see. And I can't help but draw the connection to a lot of the programming we're offering at that appeals to a lot of other students and moves them forward. So kudos to that. I wanted to go back to page 14 where it talks about the early learning assessments. And just let me get there. Give me a second. So you have listed there a number of assessments that were used, the LENS, the CC3, Alberta Education Numeracy Screen. And I'm just wondering, with the new direction from the government, is the assessment that they're mandating, does that replace these assessments or?
Those are the assessments that we.
These are the assessments.
Yes.
So we were using them prior to bill that came out this fall, mandating all schools to use them. Is that?
Yes.
Thank you. It's just become mandated, is our understanding correct, Superintendent?
Yes, and now as they move the screeners through, so they had they were, what was stated before when it came up in Cal, it was the confusion of the two. We started implementing them and they've stayed, and now they're mandating them, the screeners.
And are those administered one-on-one, or are those group assessments? And if they're one-on-one, I'm just curious how much time teachers are spending on those assessments?
So it depends on the grade level. Kindergarten and grade 1, this information is directly from the administration guidelines from Alberta Education and Childcare. Kindergarten and grade 1, all the screeners are said to be delivered one-on-one, teacher to student. And for those students, it's going to be, to get all of the assessments that are required for kindergarten or grade 1, we're looking at about roughly a half an hour time for students to take the exam. That doesn't include any preparation time that the teacher has ahead of time, or if there's any data entry afterwards. So that would change it slightly. When you go into higher grade levels, grades 2 to 4, most, if not all of the literacy screeners are done one-on-one, because again, it's literacy and we're talking about reading out loud. But the numeracy screeners that we have in place can be done in a group setting, and the group setting could be as large as an entire class.
For the one-on-one assessments, if I just want to follow this train of thought, those are given by the teacher, correct? Not a support staff member. Those are teacher directed. So in a class of 26 at perhaps half an hour per student, we're looking at a teacher assessing individual students for around 13 hours. Would be the chunk of time that we're looking at. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee O'Shea. And that's just out of instructional time. At that point in time, there's very little coverage for that, correct? Thank you. Okay. All right. Any other questions coming forward? Have you more to share?
That's what I had to share.
Okay, thank you. All right. With that, we would like to thank you very much for highlighting. I think as a board, it would be very valuable for us to know how we can best support as you plan into the future. Our advocacy efforts, if you help us to know where to focus those so that we can best support you, that would be great information for us. So thank you so much for that today. All right, with that, we will move on. Oh, Superintendent?
The AR does require a motion for the board to approve. The motion.
All right, we are looking for a motion for the board, from the board, to approve the AERR as presented. Trustee Buga, is your hand up?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the Sturgeon Public Schools Annual Education Results Report, AERR, for 24-25.
Are there any objections? All in favor then? Thank you very much.
And just
Trustee
one,
O'Shea?
just one follow-up question. When would this be posted on our website for our public to see?
Superintendent?
It will be posted in the package when the minutes go up, so it will be up by Friday, I think is our goal, when we get the minutes out to the chair, and it'll go forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. All right. Next is continuing on with administrative reports. And we have our alternative programs report, and we have district principal. Superintendent, would you like to do the introduction?
Yes, thank you. I would like to introduce Dan Stephen, our division principal, and he is going to walk us through our alternative programs report as information. And I'll turn it over. Welcome, Mr.
Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Superintendent. Yes, the alternative programs report that you have in front of you, depending on when it was printed off, I have a change, correction, alteration here. So I'm going to pass that out to you and we'll discuss that, the slight change that I had to make. So the report in front of you and the report that most of you have read looks at our alternative programming that we offer within Sturgeon Public Schools, mostly for our high school age students. One of the trustees spoke to the number of programs that we offer to ensure that we have high school completion for our senior high students, and a lot of those come from these alternative programs that we offer. The addendum or a change that I put on to you, put towards you, was in the dual credit section. So the dual credit, we partner with post-secondary institutions to offer programming that will give the students high school credit, but also give them credit towards a pathway in post-secondary education. And we apply for grants. Sometimes yearly we apply for both, depending on where we're at in our cycle. But this past couple of years, we've applied for 2 grants. A startup grant, which is $50,000, and that is for the startup of a new program. And as in the report here, this year we are shifting away from some of the trades and looking at some other services we can provide. And so we've got a grant for our students taking Aboriginal studies at Sturgeon Composite High School, and they're having the opportunity to earn post-secondary credit through University of Alberta, which would count as a prerequisite for many science and engineering programs, as well as arts programs, electives, should they go into post-secondary school. And the other one that we have for our startup was design studies, architectural design studies with Athabasca University, where our well-subscribed design studies program at Sturgeon Composite High School is able to connect students with the architecture pathway through a dual credit opportunities with Athabasca. The big change I had for it was in the dual credit enhancement grant. I don't know when I made the report if I lost my train of thought or stopped working on it. Didn't check the history of it, but anyways, I went through and fixed that. We have the dual credit. We received $100,000 this year, and that was for our foods lab at Redwater. Last year we were successful in getting a startup grant for culinary arts for our Redwater students, where we have partnered with NATE to come out and deliver instruction to our Redwater students so they can start to earn post-secondary credits towards a culinary arts diploma. Follow that up a year later, we've applied for the enhancement grant, $100,000, and we are using that money to enhance the foods lab at Redwater, going from 4 to 7 kitchens, new flooring, new ceilings, new paint, new display, new hood fans, and all that work is currently being done at Redwater School, ready for semester 2 start. So it'll be done for February 1st for our students to start another cohort of culinary arts students with NATE. So there was that change that I wanted to highlight in the report. But other than that, everything else is the same. So I'm prepared to take any questions that you may have from the report.
Are there any questions coming forward from the report? Thank you so much for the report. That was enlightening. Trustee Buga, then Trustee O'Shea.
Sorry, are you going through each piece of the report? And no? Okay.
I'm planning on it. No,
Okay.
you had to read it. I didn't want to go through the whole report
Can
again,
I
but yeah.
just call
Sure.
attention to the summer school?
Yep.
I have heard fantastic things about the Gila Ventures thing, and I think that what we're doing with summer school is really unique, and it's really effective for our students to have that online opportunity. And then anything that's in person is really experience based, whether it's the phys ed or those kinds of things, is very different than what we're seeing in, say, St. Albert Summer School, where their schools are full of, 1,000 bums and seats just taking their regular classes. So I think this is a really great opportunity to showcase the way Sturgeon does things differently. I just wanted to ask for some, I guess, explanation or clarification about the student course enrollment for last year. The total number had gone down very slightly, but the credits earned has gone up fairly significantly. So if you could just clarify how that works and how the credits work
Yep.
based on enrollment and all that. Thanks.
Sure. It could be a number of factors. More students could have just taken more courses. The courses they took could have been worth more credits rather than taking a 3-credit comm course. Maybe they're taking the 5-credit phys ed course. They would get more credits that way. The other issue, I guess, with term 4 funding is we get funded for a maximum of 10 credits in the summer. And so previous years, we were maybe having a number of students take courses for that we weren't getting funded for. They were maybe redoing a course, or they'd already reached their 10 credit limit. And so we had some unfunded courses. There was just more funded courses this year for one of those 2 reasons. Yeah. And the Gila Adventures I'll speak to. That was great. Really good on the teachers that were involved in that program and got it out, and it filled up quick. It filled up within the first couple of days, maybe in the first day actually. And, kids were ready for it, knew it was coming out, got their parents on board. They were ready to sign up to summer school to get that. So those kind of opportunities are great that we can offer our students. And it was a successful outing this summer for sure. Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you. Any other questions arising? Trustee O'Shea?
I'm really happy to see we offer the Green Certificate program. I think it's a real niche for some students. Most of our communities have fairly active 4-H clubs, and I don't know that we see the transition into the green program from those clubs. And I'm just wondering, I'm happy to see there's 5 students registered and getting credits, but is there any barriers to that program that we're seeing in students, and why we may not be seeing more students enrolled in
No,
that?
that's a great question. It's something that we bring up within our off-campus coordinators every year because we do have such strong 4-H programs. We do have a strong agricultural community, and I put it on our off-campus coordinators. Why aren't we getting more? And at first I thought it was maybe awareness, but I know that this year it was awareness isn't an issue. It was front and center. It was more than work experience. It was more than RAP. They were trying to drive those numbers. Other thoughts? I think we can maybe go to the 4-H clubs maybe and talk to them a bit and get them to maybe promote it within themselves. And it is a lot. It's a lot of work for students. Like, it's 16 credits worth of work. It is a lot. There is testing involved. They have to go to Westlock and do the testing. There is a fee, which we have offset in the past as well to cover the cost of those exams. But I think it's just maybe a bit of a challenge that it's they feel they're in 4-H anyways. They maybe just don't see the need for it, but it is a bit of a challenge.
And just to follow up, my past experience with another rural board, we had similar numbers. We just couldn't seem to move that number. So I'm assuming that may be something we see across the provinces.
I was just going to say that I came from another board as well, and it was a larger board than this, and it was not that much larger numbers.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
It might be a thing across province. I don't know all boards, but it'd be nice to dive into that and see what's going on in other places. Might ask that at future casts.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And connecting with the 4-H clubs might
Yeah.
be very valuable. They're doing the work anyway.
Exactly.
This
A lot
way
of
they
these
can get the
things they
credits
do.
for it.
A lot of things
yeah,
they do, and it
kind of
just,
a win-win.
they just got to do that extra test that maybe
Yes.
they get worried about. I don't know, but yeah.
Yes. Superintendent, did you have something to add here?
No, there was another question there.
I
and-
just wanted to, Trustee O'Shea, it's such a great point, and I think this is a huge advocacy point when we have the government continues with assessments, diplomas, PATs, diplomas, and it's less than 1% of our students that actually can do RAP, dual credit, any of those things when you talk about Green Certificate, because they have to fit it into their schedule. And that's why it's so hard, because if you are a kid that's you have a goal and you want to get there to finish it, to complete your core classes and add this on. So as Dan just said, it's that extra work, because yes, they're doing it through 4-H, but 4-H, they love it, they volunteer, but now you're adding for more work. So now you're adding more work on their schoolwork. And so it is a barrier, and it's difficult, especially when their timetables are already so full. And so we would love to see more of our kids in that. And this is why it's so interesting. We have so many kids and we are pushing it, but again, we're asking for more work. So if it's more work and the credits are, it's a lot more work than what they're doing. If it's an add-on, it just becomes why do it? And if they don't need it for credits, it might not be, they don't feel it's necessary. So it's kind of a multi-pronged way that we'll have to approach it.
Thank you, Superintendent. And Trustee Reed?
Trustee Reed, Ward 6. And I was just going to follow up with Neil's comments with 4-H, because I think some of the barriers with those kids is those kids that are in 4-H that are invested in that stuff, they are busy. And 4-H is when they commit to that, that's a big commitment.
Mhm.
So I would wonder what it would look like if the school board could have that chat with the 4-H groups to see somehow if that can be facilitated through their programming, and work together. But just knowing from experience and being part of the 4-H, when those kids are in 4-H, they're probably playing hockey, they're probably playing volleyball.
They're
Like their
involved.
schedules and time commitments are stretched.
Yep.
So if there's a way to somehow massage that in to their
Yep.
programming through the 4-H clubs.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think that's maybe the last point. Like, we pushed it so hard and then I get one more kid. I just, deflating, but it's 20% more kids. I guess I could look at it that way, but you're right. Like, I think maybe we need to do a better job connecting with the 4-H, which we haven't done. I know that's the case. We just assume that they're 4-H students are going to come find us, but maybe the leader of the 4-H doesn't know this. It's different in each community, but we could probably do a better job connecting with them. I think maybe we'd see an uptick of at least 2 more students, so which would be great.
Thank you so much. Trustee O'Shea?
We could be the victims of our own success.
Yeah.
We offer a lot of programming for kids,
I
so we
know.
can't expect all of our programs to be full or
Yeah, yeah.
overprescribed.
Yeah.
So we are a victim of our own success.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I would like to thank you very much for presenting that for us today. Very much appreciated. And we will move forward to 8.2, which is our Human Resources Annual Report. To you, Superintendent.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to be turning this over to our Director of Human Resources, Rita Raposo. And just a reminder to the board, when we're bringing these reports forward, these are to support you in your governance role. So this is a report based on last year. This is data coming forward. So again, just reflecting moving forward. Does this support you in your role of understanding and for improvements on reports coming forward as we collect the data for this year, coming forward for next year? Just please think about that in supporting your governance role. And I will turn it over and welcome our Director of Human Resources, Rita Raposo.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good afternoon, trustees, senior executive, and guests. I'm pleased to present the HR and Safety Annual Report. I'll begin with a brief overview of the HR function and then highlight some of the key activities and trends from the year. Overall, this was a year focused on 3 priorities for HR: supporting staff through significant labor action, maintaining safe and healthy workplaces, and ensuring operational stability during a period of change. Our mission is to attract and retain high-performing employees who contribute to exceptional learning for our students. We focus on fostering a positive, inclusive, and respectful work environment. Our work includes recruitment, onboarding, employee relations, benefits administration, occupational health and safety oversight, and support for staff wellness. Our small but mighty team consists of 6 staff, 4 are full-time and 2 are part-time, and we're supporting leaders and employees across the entire division. Turning now to some of the key operational pressures from this past year, much of our work was shaped by labor relations activity. A significant area of focus was the CUPE and ATA collective agreements. CUPE employees engaged in full job action beginning January 14th and returned to their regular duties on March 31st. HR played a central role in supporting negotiations and ensuring continuity throughout the disruption during this period. Recruitment of substitute teachers and casual staff is an ongoing process throughout the year. Although we have competition from several surrounding school divisions, we were able to increase the number of substitutes and casuals in our talent pool. Another area I'd like to highlight relates to staff wellness. We offer an employee family assistance program to all employees that are subscribed to the ASCBP benefits. Employees continue to have access to 4 hours of EFAP support through Green Shield. This is at no cost to the employees. EFAP usage trends show a decline in new cases, a decline in the total hours used, and full hour access over the past 3 years. We continue to monitor these trends as part of our broader approach to employee well-being. The EFAP program includes services such as personalized nutrition, life transitions, health coaching, career coaching, individual and family counseling, each with 4 hours of free consultations. Financial advice and legal advice offer unlimited access, while children's mental health and Indigenous mental health is by request. We continue to promote our EFAP program to ensure our employees are aware of the wellness options available to them and to increase our usage rates. The division continues to uphold Alberta's Occupational Health and Safety Act, focusing on prevention and safe working conditions. The Joint Worksite Health and Safety Committee includes representatives from all employee groups and plays a key role in maintaining safety standards across the schools. And we are trending in the right direction with our WCB claims. WCB costs are based on a calendar year and not on a school year. And as of now, 2025 is looking to be a good year for us in terms of claim costs. Claim costs are reflected in our premium rates for 3 years. So for the 2026 premium rates, it will be based on our WCB costs for the years 2022, 2023, and 2024. And we are seeing a trend in the right direction. In closing, I hope these highlights provide helpful content around the scope and impact of HR's work over the past year. The HR team remains committed to continuous improvement, focused on supporting staff and maintaining healthy and safe learning environments. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the report. Do we have any questions or comments coming forward? I will note that it's heartwarming to see that there haven't been any complaints or investigations since the last report. So great job on that. Anything else? Trustee Buga?
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Rita, for the report. There's a lot of information in here to kind of sift through. One thing that I know has been kind of key for the last few years is that ranking on the WCB. I don't know if other trustees have picked up on that, but that, being number one, 64 out of 64 is not a good place to be. And that surcharge rate below it of 90% is compared to current, our surcharge is 3.96%. And then looking at our annual premiums, that's huge. As we are having tighter and tighter budgets, I think it's so important, not only that our budget is getting a little bit of ease because of this, but also that means our staff are safer, our work environments are safer, despite, we have a lot of challenges and we're hearing a lot about violence in classrooms and classroom complexities. And on top of that, aging infrastructure and all of the things that can contribute to WCB claims. I'm very happy to see this improving, as that has been a focus of the board for quite a few years now, and to see these numbers, the data says it all. So I know it always comes with a story, but I think this is a very good one. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? Trustee Briggs?
How are we doing with our substitutes? We're always in competition with other boards surrounding us. Are we ensuring that we have teachers and EAs in front of our students all the time? Or are we still struggling with support staff and teaching staff?
I will pass this on to Rita. It's a constant struggle to get subs, but this is not a new thing. This is historically, it's always, 10 years ago, there was times where one school would be short 5 subs and you're combining classes. It's a constant challenge, and even to get enough subs. But we do compete with boards around us. But I don't know if Rita wants to speak to that, if we've seen changes. But it's a long-standing challenge in the division. And at certain times of year, we're always trying to put out advertisements to get more substitutes. But it is a constant challenge in our division. But Rita, if you want to expand on that at all, go ahead.
So our substitute and our casual pool, we have increased it over the years, and we do have basically a continual ad out, and we do recruit on a regular basis for them.
Thank you. And Trustee O'Shea?
Just to follow up to that, Rita, and thank you for your report. Do we keep track of number of days that we don't have substitutes available? Like I know for schools, when there's no sub, that means the principals scatter, jumping around and teachers are having to cover and whatnot. Do we keep a track of that at all? of how many days in the school year we go without substitutes in a building or?
Yes, we can run reports on
Yeah,
that.
and I don't need that. I was just wondering if we, at some point in time, it might be interesting to look at that and see with the increase in the number of subs that we've managed to engage up to 173, I would hope we'd see a correlation to, you know, the times that substitutes aren't available going down. However, we never know because out of that 171, there might only be some that want to work 1 day a week or they want to work only during September and they take off all winter. So the number can be a bit deceiving. It might not alleviate all of the pressure, but it should alleviate some.
Thank you. And of course, further complications, some substitute teachers sub in more than one district. So I think that that can sometimes be a problem too. Trustee Reed.
Trustee Reed, Ward 6. I'm just curious as to, is there any strategies in place, just looking at our succession plan with the age of our teachers and, you know, our pool of teachers is aging and we have a high percentage, or not a high percentage, but it is up there of teachers that are getting close to that retirement. So what is our strategy moving forward if we get a large portion of teachers that are going to be leaving our full-time?
Speak to it, Rita, at all? No, okay. So it's a great question. And I will say, just to remind the board, we've gone through cuts. And when you go through cuts, it's our beginning and temporary teachers that go. So we do notice that. Sadly, we are reducing again. So, but it is something we have to keep an eye on for the average age of our staff moving forward to recruit new teachers. We've had amazing beginning teachers. So I would make our place a great place to come to that people want to come to, but it is a big deal because we do have our staff. You can see that it's getting older.
Thank you, Superintendent, and thank you so much for that. I know in other districts, substitute teachers are always a struggle. And could you just outline a little bit, do we hire from our sub list throughout the year as there are job openings and things like that? Is that where you tend to see most of your applications coming forward? Is it internal from our sub list that we are filling those vacancies?
I would say there's a mix. I mean, it's one way to get into school division, but we have, and Rita can even speak to this, for our applicants, we get a great number, a large number of applicants applying for our jobs, which is very positive. So it's never done internally. When we're posting for a position, it goes out. So all subs, of course, are more than welcome to apply. But we've been very fortunate because our recruitment numbers when people apply for jobs, they are very high. So that is a very positive note moving forward. I don't know, Rita, if you wanted to add anything else.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? Last call, Trustee O'Shea.
I just have one more, please. Under staff supervision, growth and evaluation, I noticed 44 teacher evaluations. Is that all ATA members or is that only teachers? And I guess what I'm asking is, are admin evaluations included in that number of 44?
Yes, that includes all ATA members.
Okay, thank you. And there may be some follow-up questions to that coming forward. Is there any other questions, comments? Other than that, thank you so very much for your presentation today. And we wish you well on your trip home. Hopefully the weather will be cooperative. And we will move on to the next item. And we are ready for our communications report. Thank you.
And I will turn this over to our Manager of Communications and Marketing to provide the report.
Thank you. Lauren Walter, Marketing and Communications Manager. I won't spend too much time on this. I'll kind of just give you an overview, and then of course it's there for your reference to go further into detail. The first item is we had our Morinville Public School Rebuild Input and Information event. So getting communication out to ensure that community members attended, making sure we were prepared to gather said information and then take in that information and showing our stakeholders that we not only heard it, but documented it. So the various pieces of feedback that we heard are now available on the Morinville Public School website so that our stakeholders can see, hey, not only did we hear you, but we're writing it down and we will keep you posted as the project evolves. And for an event of this sort, which isn't always as flashy or maybe attractive for people to attend, we were really happy with the turnout. We had just shy of 30 community members attend. The second item was the first installment of our Find Your Path series. So just to remind you, that was our video series for the year where we're going to go out all across the division. We're making sure we highlight various schools, various programs, so on, but going out and showing the diverse learning that's happening across our division and putting it in sort of a short form content that's digestible and entertaining, but also informing. So we started out at the Building Futures site, which was such a cool experience to go out there, even just to see it for myself. And we were able to interview teachers, we were able to interview students, we were able to capture a little bit of them actually working on the home. And what was neat about it is that totally unprompted, the students even shared not only how the learning opportunity of getting to build this home was teaching them skills outside of the core curriculum, but also how it was enhancing their understanding of the core curriculum. One of the students mentioned how the ability to apply the math she was learning in the classroom to actually building the house gave her a far stronger understanding of the actual material, which was so neat to hear, because even I hadn't considered that not only is it something else to learn, but that it might not only not take away from, but enhance your understanding of the curriculum, which is pretty neat. Yeah, and the video itself has done really well engagement-wise, but I will get back to you with those numbers once it's been out a little longer. Third item was the Aviation Pathway Program launch. So much, I won't go into the weeds, so much went into that, but we were really happy with the attendance from the media, attendance from the community, and also the engagement that we got from some of our online materials. We roped a few of our students into doing kind of a funny, trendy style video where they had their aviation career costumes on, and organically, so we didn't have to put any money into it. It got just over 21,000 views, which is pretty great for anything school related. Sometimes it's tough to get people to watch, but people were watching, so that's wonderful. The third one, not as fun, but still very important, or sorry, the fourth one, I guess I'm on now, would be just our communications checklist. So this year, we really want to support because our schools have so much to juggle, we wanted to just support them in knowing what the big items are for that month. So start of the month, we're reminding them. During the month, we're supporting them in helping to make it, not only make whatever is needed, but then make it website friendly, turn it into a PDF, make sure it's up on their website so that education plans, for example, was kind of the hot item for this month. Those are available on the website for stakeholders to see, and they're all being done consistently. So that was successful this month. The website has also been a big one. We're doing lots of work surrounding looking at potential new website providers, as well as the possibility of staying with our current one. The focus this month was in particular on engaging our staff to see kind of what they think of the options, because it's not just my department that deals with the website. There are lots of people across central office as well as our schools, which is incredibly important. So we just want to make sure we're gathering their feedback at every step. And then last but not least was the Sturgeon Public Scoop. So there was info on the Aviation Pathway Program launch. There was info on the Morinville Public Replacement Project. It's that time of year. We have to put our inclement weather info and bus status stuff on there for people in case they're wondering where to look for transportation updates in the cold days. And then the last thing, we have lots and lots of different articles that covered our aviation program, the launch of it, both locally and internationally. And we also got some really great media coverage. We sent out a formal media release, even though we've been doing lots with them. We sent out a formal media release to our local papers regarding our partnership with Unplugged, just to kind of show off a little bit that we are the first school division in Western Canada to partner with Unplugged. And so we also got a lot of great coverage from that. So that list there just kind of shows you the various places we were in the media. And as far as upcoming events, we have Christmas break, of course, which is just around the corner, and then Educational Assistance Appreciation Day on January 16th.
Thank you very much. The engagement for the new school was very well attended and I think very well received by the parents. When I sat at the table, they seemed to really appreciate that. One of the things that they really loved was those maps and diagrams that you had on display. And I don't know if all the trustees have had a chance to see those yet. So if those are hanging around somewhere, it would be lovely for some of the rest of the trustees to see them, because those were the highlight.
They are hanging out at more of a public right now, so that's there in the office there. But we can maybe find a way to get them back here for a bit.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good
Maybe
idea.
after Christmas.
Yeah, we can have them
Okay.
here for a bit.
Trustee Buga.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your report. I have a question about the Find Your Path video series. I think it's fantastic. And I was like, but I want to know more about all the other things too. And so I, get ahead of myself, and I know it's coming and I need to temper that, but I don't want them to get lost. So where do they live as far as like resharing every so often, like once we start hitting like registration blitz time, like
Yeah.
where can we pull from, so that I know some of us have our own trustee pages or even our personal social media. Maybe we want to throw some, like get them recirculating again. Where do we go?
Sure. So they are exclusive to social media, which is nice. You don't have to go anywhere else other than social media. But what I can do is I can provide the trustees with maybe the different social media accounts that they do live on from the division. And then that way you know which platform is located where.
Thank you. Anything else coming forward? Trustee Reed.
Just a little bit of feedback, actually, regarding the Unplugged program and the availability for people to read about that. Was at a customer's place building a skating rink for her, and she's got 3 little kids, and she was complaining about social media, like kids and social media, and her son wanting to have a phone, and he was 9 years old, and she was talking about there's a school division that's starting this new Unplugged thing. I'm like, I think I know which school division that is, actually.
Hey, that's awesome.
And so it was right after our little session. And so I had a picture on my phone of the screenshot that I had taken. So I shared it with her, and she sent me a message the other day thanking me, because she's researching it.
That's wonderful.
She lives in St. Albert.
Mhm.
So she's like, why aren't other school divisions doing this? Like, well, so it was a great moment that, the power of social media.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Great work.
Thank you. All right, seeing no other questions, thank you so much for your report. It was a lovely read. Okay, thank you. So moving along here, I'll turn this one over to Superintendent. 8.5 is the rescission of Administrative Procedure 731, return to work. Would you like to? Oh, sorry. We skipped right over the superintendent's report. That was our Christmas gift to you.
Yes,
Sorry, we will go back. 8.4 Superintendent's report. We have this in the agenda package, but our superintendent is going to take a walk through with us. Thank you so much, and my apologies.
Thank you, Chair. Again, provided for the board is information. I do have one item that I need to remove. As you know, that this gets posted to the website and sometimes things change. So December 11th, I did have something come up family-wise, so I wasn't able, sadly, I missed, although I hear that our deputy did a great job on stage performing and took over what Mr. Swenson and Mr. Cripps usually wrote me into doing. So I actually was like, well, maybe duties is assigned. I kind of like it that the deputy had to be dragged onto stage. Again, all superintendents in the province are mandated to meet the SLQS. It is aligned with the leadership quality standard as well as the teacher quality standard. And so this report does include the board goals as well that were created as part of my evaluation. And so it's a walkthrough of just how I'm working through to ensure that I am meeting the standard. Again, building effective relationships is the foundation of everything that we do. And so alongside the board, that is what I aim to do. My monthly things are a lot of the same. I would like to talk to, thank you, Trustee Reed, talking about Unplugged, because it's new. and it's just coming out. It is baby steps, but I have to say it's amazing when you bring the right people to the table, how you can empower parents and how when it's grassroots that we can move it forward. So it's exciting, but we also have to remember this is new. And so we also have to tread lightly because people have to also understand and we need to meet them where they're at. But it's very excited and I'm very proud of that, that we are doing that. Our goal is always to do what is in the best interest of children, everything we do. There is a lot of things going on just around the division. A lot of the stuff that I'm putting in here is your information. These are things that our teams are bringing forward, whether it's starting the planning for our STEAM games, etc. But it's events coming up or things that we have been doing. We have, again, there's been quite a bit of stuff on from the government around curriculum. There's been a lot of town halls, etc., from the government with that information. Continue to meet with our principals monthly. I also do support, I'm on the Alberta Rural Education Symposium Committee, looking at planning for future years and what comes to that. And I know this board, there will be people probably attending that. And there is a summary there for our First Nation, Métis, and Inuit. I have the summary of what our December focus was for this month. And I'm not sure if there's anything else, if the board has any question, but this is my report that I provide each month.
Thank you, Superintendent. Do we have any questions or comments coming forward? Trustee Buga.
Surprise, it's me. I just have a quick question. There's lots in there that I could probably sit and listen to you talk about all of them all day, but we don't have that. So I just want to ask about STEAM games. How capacity-wise, moving to 4 Winds, is that what I'm reading? Is that going to be in the same capacity that it has been in the past at the comp and just in a new location? Or are we changing formats a little bit as well? Because that feels like it's a much smaller building.
Does someone want to speak to that on the team that's in the room? Michael or Dan? Okay, Michael.
Thank you.
I will say that the move from the comp over to 4 Winds is to solve a couple of extenuating circumstances. There is a larger event planned in May at the comp, and recognizing that when these events come into the school, it does impact learning there. We wanted to recognize that and make sure that we weren't taking another day of some of the facilities that are available there. Also, our tech lead, who's going to be taking the forefront of this, is a halftime teacher at 4 Winds, and so has access to the school, some of the school facilities and some of the school pieces a little bit easier. So to make her planning a little bit easier, we suggested the move, talked with the administration at the school, and are fairly confident that we can handle things pretty similarly. Again, we're working on the food process because they don't have a cafeteria. But if that's only the major change, that shouldn't be a big impact. I anticipate it'll be the best STEAM game I've ever been to, but it should be on par with the previous events that we've had.
Thank you.
Okay, this is gonna sound a bit cuckoo, but it's valid. I just want to make sure Sturgeon Comp was a level playing field for our elementary and junior high kids. I just want to make sure that there is no sense of favoritism or that there's a one-up for some schools and other, because those banners are highly sought after. And sometimes those banners, the points didn't get added up properly in the past, and there was some rivalry between schools. So keeping that in mind, that if it is being at a host school, that is acknowledged that they do not get preferential treatment. Just
Point
FYI.
taken.
Point taken.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, and thank you so much for the report, Superintendent. You did miss a lot of shenanigans on December the 11th, but you know what? I think you would be glad not to have been hauled up on stage. It was most appropriate that you were not.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for the report. And now we are ready to move on to the rescission of admin procedure 731, return to work. And can I give it back to you again?
Thank you, Chair. I will be turning this over to the Director of Human Resources. So just like with the board, we have a regular schedule where we review our administrative procedures. And so this is coming forward as information as to why we are rescinding the AP. And I will turn it over to Rita.
Thank you, Superintendent. Administration completed a review of AP 731 and determined that all return to work requirements are already fully governed through legislation, our collective agreements, and existing HR practices. The Human Rights Act, OH&S legislation, employment standards, ATA and QP provisions, GEC guidelines, and ASCBP's medical reporting processes all provide comprehensive direction. Because these frameworks are binding and updated regularly, keeping a separate AP creates duplication and increases the risk of it becoming outdated. In addition, a scan of neighboring divisions shows that none maintain a standalone return to work procedure. Rescinding AP 731 will not change our practice. It simply removes a redundant document and aligns us with sector standards. Administration is prepared to respond to questions.
Thank you. Any questions coming forward from the rescission of the return to work procedure? Seeing no questions. All right. Thank you so much for the report for information, and we will move forward. Thanks so much. All right. We are now moving on to reports. Number 9 from trustees and standing committees. And we will begin with the chair's report. The chair's report, of course, will be found in the package. We had quite a discussion on trustee reports earlier today. And if you don't find full reports in there this month, you will next time. The board has decided that the trustee reports will continue. And we may not read the entire report each and every time. We will offer a little bit of highlight as we go across or around the table. So I think for me, rather than reading everything, I will talk a little bit about one of my highlights was an online event that was hosted by Alberta Education, and it was a stakeholder briefing on curriculum. So it was nice to see that they had put it together such that people could understand where the change in curriculum was coming from and where it was going. So it was very well done. I think, Superintendent, you attended the same one. And there is a little bit of follow-up with our board. So we're appreciating that. And we will now proceed with our round table, and we'll begin with Vice Chair.
My report has been submitted in the package. My highlight for the month would be visiting the schools during this busy time and seeing how they pulled everything together for this beautiful Christmas season. So kudos to all the staff in our schools working so diligently and hard. And it was a pleasure being in all the schools in my community this month.
Thank you. Trustee Buga?
Thank you. Yeah, lots going on. One thing that was just a little bit different is I attended an organization called Hold My Hand Alberta hosted a kind of an online discussion for trustees and media. It was Janet French from, where's she, CBC, did a report which came across our tables through our ASBA daily report or update thing. But she did an article about how the parents of special needs kids are reacting and dealing with the conversations happening at the provincial level. There was quite a few trustees present from Parkland. I believe board chair from Parkland, Lorraine, was quoted in the article, and quite a few from Edmonton Public Schools as well. But hearing firsthand from some of the parents and what their priorities are and what they're hearing when they hear all of these releases from the government and what they're feeling from their school boards and where they're seeing gaps. So it was a really interesting conversation to sit in on.
Thank you, Trustee Buga. Trustee O'Shea.
A couple of things that are missing from my report. I did tour my 2 schools that I work with earlier this week and dropped off some stuff for Christmas. But just really wanted to focus on December 11th and the winter concert from Sturgeon Comp. And what I really, really appreciated about it was the wide offerings to get involved with music that is offered to students at the comp. So when I delivered goodies on Monday, talked with Kyle Swenson, the teacher there, about their drumline program. They are only one of 12 schools, high schools in the province that actually offer drumline as a music option and have won a couple of provincial awards through that. So lots to see. Sturgeon Heights concerts were great. Of course, meetings with you folks are always great, but the highlight really was me meeting with, talking to Kyle Swenson and actually seeing the wide variety, you know, from his guitar kids on stage to the drum line, to his concert band, to the choir. We've really expanded over the last 10 or 15 years the options that kids have to get involved in music, because not everybody wants to play concert band. So there's just lots of options at the comp for a wide variety of stuff for kids to be involved in.
Right. And the venue was just so appropriate. For
Yeah,
that.
it was lovely.
Yeah,
It was lovely.
It
So
was.
that would
Thank
be
you.
my-
Thank you, Trustee O'Shea. And moving to Trustee Gibbons.
Thanks, Chair. Crystal Gibbons, Ward 7. I think my highlight would probably be the Winter Festival and the Christmas concerts, obviously, this month. So it was pretty cool to see. I liked how the Winter Festival for Landing Trail, they bring all the firefighters to man all the little individual fire pits. So while the kids are doing their roasting, it's safe. And it was just pretty cool to see. So
Thank you. Trustee Reed?
Well, I haven't attended any Christmas concerts yet. I'm actually attending Nemaos tomorrow. Guthrie School I missed because they changed the date on me and I didn't get the email. So next year. But I guess the highlight for me, well, I guess before I get to that, I attended a lunch and learn on December 1st. It was a 1-hour Zoom meeting and it was Indigenous knowledge. And it was an interesting, I found this new need to learn more about our Indigenous people. And it was a great experience to sit and listen to an individual speak for an hour about collaboration and getting communities to understand each other. And he had several examples. So there was a whole bunch of takeaways. There's a couple follow-ups that'll be happening in January that I'm going to try to join as well. A little bit of a challenge from noon till 1 when I'm driving down the road, but I got a pretty good understanding. And then December 9th, I had an invite to attend Nemeo School. They had a special guest, Mike Stelter, was at the school. So for those of you that aren't aware, Ben Stelter Foundation is fundraising, and they are raising money to basically build a new hospital. It's to bring proton beam therapy to Canada. Canada does not have this program. So Nemeo School last year, they fundraised, I think it was just over $16,000. They qualified, actually, they should have been able to meet some of the Oilers. Whatever happened. But so I think that's why Mike felt obligated to come out with his crew. And so they had the assembly, all the kids in the gym. Mike showed up and with his 2 colleagues and did a presentation. And his one colleague, which is the founder of this, is a high school student. And to have that presentation coming from a young individual, the kids, for the most part, were engaged and listening. And some of the questions were kind of intriguing to hear the questions from some of the students as to why Canada doesn't have this. Like, why are we sending people to the States to get this done? And so I had messaged the principal last night because at the time, Nemeo School was out of the running. They were only, I think, at $6,000 or $5,000. As of last night, Nemeo made the leaderboard. They are now in second place at $12,544 raised, following McKernan at $21,000. So they got a big gap to make up if they want to meet Connor McDavid. But just a great job the school's doing. I mean, they're rallying together to raise money, and they've raised almost over $30,000. So that's incredible. And that was the highlight for my month so far.
Awesome. Sounds very exciting. And last but not least, Trustee Berkner.
Trustee Berkner, Ward 1. One of the really neat things that I got to do this month was to attend a Generations United Christmas cookie baking event at Ochre Park. And they had several different people who didn't have the opportunity maybe to be grandmothers or things like that, to be able to get into the schools and bake cookies with the students. And I thought that was really enjoyable. I do have grandchildren, but I was asked because of my connections to the school as well. I also found that the Christmas concerts were fantastic, both Redwater School and Ochre Park. And I did put a post on social media thanking the staff for their excellent work with all the students, because it was just so enjoyable to see them, tone deaf or not. It was so enjoyable to see all of the students up there, and the both events were very well attended, and that was wonderful to see. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, and the concerts are something that I think I look forward to every year. And I had a partner at Camilla. We were there last night and enjoyed the presentation very much. So thank you for sharing all your highlights, and we look forward to coming together again in January to hear some more. We will go back just a half a step as part of the chair's report as well. We have some work to do with our policies. At our last session with Dr. Jordan Tinney, it was agreed that our board would begin with a review of Policy 9, which is the policy of policies. And then we were to prioritize a few policies through our policy committee, and we will review these throughout the year. So our new board indicated a desire as well for procedural transparency. So we're going to bring that forward to you throughout the year as we look through our policies, and we will review a number of policies, and we will also look at some that were passed prior to our instatement. So the board got together and we have indicated some priorities, beginning, of course, with Policy 9. We will do that one as a large group together. And then our plan is to pass on some priority policies to our policy committee. So we have a motion prepared, and I will read it, and then perhaps someone could bring that one forward. So we are looking for the policy committee to prepare and return to the board a review plan and a timeline for the identified priority policies, including but not limited to the 3 priorities at the February public board meeting. So our priorities, I know you're riveted waiting to hear what they are. We are going to look at Policy 9 together, and then we will look at Policy 2, which is our role of the trustee. And then we will look at Policy 3, which is the board operations. And then, time permitting, we have a tie for the 3rd place. So we will see how we do for time. So at this point in time, could we have someone indicate the motion that the policy committee will prepare and return to the board a review plan and timeline for the identified priority policies, Policy 9, Policy 2, and Policy 3 at the February public board meeting? Would someone be willing to move that? Yes.
Thank you. Just a question on the motion regarding what's coming forward at the February public board. Will these be reviewed in advance of that for preparation, or is this just a timeline of review coming forward at the February board?
Great question. It is a review plan and a timeline for the identified priority policies. So just that. We have a motion coming forward for policy committee.
Do you have the motion?
I do.
I move that the policy committee prepare and return to the board a review plan and timeline for the identified priority policies, including but not limited to 3 priorities at the February public board meeting.
Thank you. Is anyone opposed? All right. Carried. The next item, Superintendent.
Thank you. Could I just ask, because I know Michelle is trying to get this, because you have it written down, would you mind sharing your written copy so she has it correctly in the minutes? Thank you.
Absolutely. And the priorities, because those were a surprise. Yeah, it's here. Okay. We will move along. If I can give that to you after, that would be great. We will move along to the Committee of the Whole report. And at this point in time, we have just information from the minutes. Do we have anything else coming forward for our Committee of the Whole? Superintendent, do you have anything? Okay. All right, so those will be referred to the minutes. And number 10, reports from special committees or task forces. 10.1 is Alberta School Boards Association representative, and this should be with an S. Myself and Trustee Gibbons attended the last Zone 2-3 meeting, and there was an amazing presentation on governance there by former superintendent from Edmonton Catholic Schools, Robert Martin, and from an ASBA consultant, Terry Gunderson. So we enjoyed very much our presentation on that. We had some follow-up questions. We were offered some guidance to have some support as we go through our policy review. We're moving towards the GTEC model, and Terry Gunderson was to help and support us through that. Sadly, he passed away last Friday, and we have since been offered by ASBA some support through another consultant. So just very much appreciating the support we're getting through ASBA, but very much missing the leadership and guidance of Terry Gunderson. And moving on to 10.2, we have Public School Boards Association of Alberta representative. And just a quick update.
Update is we have a public school board committee meetings on February 5th and 6th. If you have not signed up, but maybe we can talk about that as a board. And there's mini webinars being offered starting in January for public school boards. I'm not sure if they're in your calendars already, but there's quite a few for January and February. It is, they're quite good. So you can sign up for them through your portal.
Thank you so much. There's also a letter that is being forwarded from our board to the Public School Boards Association. Thank you, Superintendent, for preparing this letter on our behalf. The letter is a follow-up to our November 24th, 2025 meeting, where a motion was passed unanimously. And we will then move on to the Rotary report and Trustee Reid.
Not much to report. We are working with the Rotary Club is working with the school division to create a nutritional program that will be sustainable. One thing I can, we're in the very preliminary stages of creating another bursary. So Sturgeon Composite High School and Redwater High School. Rotary feels that the $300 that we are doing as the awards right now is not sufficient. So we are in the early stages of creating another one that will, I'm not sure if it'll replace the current or not. I think it'll be an addition. So by next meeting, I hope to have some numbers that I can report and when that will start.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Reid. That is very welcome news. All right, we will move on to 10.4, Chamber of Commerce meetings. Is anyone prepared to report on that? Trustee Buga.
I attended the Morinville Chamber of Commerce meeting sometime in December. was able to sit at the table with Jessica Martell Foundation representatives who are always fantastic. The December Chamber of Commerce meeting is always their not-for-profit spotlight. And so there was presentations by a couple of different boards. Of note, it used to be the St. Albert Foundation and now is Sturgeon, or St. Albert and Sturgeon Foundation. So just acknowledging that they do support a lot of projects that are in the Sturgeon County area as well as St. Albert. And Midstream Society here in town does a fantastic job with their Santa store and making sure that a lot of local families get their, Christmas hampers and that kind of thing. They work well with, there's quite a few organizations around town that do that kind of work. So it was great to be part of that and see what's going around town.
Thank you so much. And is there anything coming forward from Community Services Advisory Board?
Nothing since the last meeting. The next upcoming meeting is February 9th, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Trustee O'Shea?
Trustee O'Shea?
Yes. Yes, it is.
All right. We have another item to add. My mistake, this should have gone under Chair or Vice Chair's report. We have a motion coming forward. We had discussion this morning that there is an amazing partnership going on with one of our stakeholders, Prairie Gardens, and they are in line for a grant. So we have a partnership going on with Prairie Gardens and Lillian Schick for their 7 to 9 students, and they are giving back to community. So we would like to present the following motion. I will read it, and perhaps Vice Chair, you could make the motion, and we will move forward with our support for this community stakeholder. The motion reads that the Board of Trustees directs administration to prepare a draft letter of support on behalf of the Board of Trustees for Prairie Gardens in support of their application to Stomping Grounds funding program, and to bring the draft letter forward for board consideration and approval. Vice Chair.
I move that the Board of Trustees directs administration to prepare a draft letter of support on behalf of the Board of Trustees for Prairie Gardens in support of their application to Stomping Grounds funding program, and to bring the draft letter forward for board consideration and approval.
Thank you, Trustee Briggs. Is anyone opposed? Thank you. Carried unanimously. Thank you so much. And Superintendent, will that letter be prepared? I understand there's a timeline for that grant, so consideration is perhaps given in advance, and the timeline for the letter, making sure they get it in time for the grant submission.
Yes, the deadline is the 31st of January, so that will be drafted and will be brought to the January 14th Committee of the Whole for the board.
Thank you so much. All right, we will move on to item number 11, unfinished business. And that would be Student Advisory Committee. Superintendent?
Thank you, Chair. At the October 29th public board meeting, the board did direct me to consult with our school-based leaders to look at either rescheduling the first Student Advisory Committee meeting, which was originally set for November 4th, or which was canceled due to the ATA labor action. And so the board did ask me to take that back to admin. So I went to the admin council to ask them, and just to remind the board that the Student Advisory Committee, it's grades 7 to 12 only. So that's the age grouping of the students. So in talking to the principals, they asked that because there is a second meeting this year, that it would be best to not reschedule. So I'm just bringing this back to the board. Again, if you would like me to look at a date to schedule, but again, the board directed me to bring back this information. So this is feedback from the admin teams, and the the second Student Advisory Committee is scheduled for Tuesday, April 14th in person. And we, of course, we have to look at it. Host school, we usually ask when we're get there, but we will bring that forward. We ask for a host school who will host it.
Thank you, Superintendent. Is there any thoughts that trustees would like to share regarding the information from Superintendent on Student Advisory Committee? Trustee O'Shea?
Sure. I think it's important to listen to the voice of our administrators and our senior administration. And if the recommendation is to not reschedule, and I think I'm very much in support of going with one student advisory committee meeting for this school year, 24, 25, 25, 26, what are we in, 25, 26? But I think when we ask and that's the feedback we get, I think we should honor that.
Yes, agreed. And thank you, Superintendent, for looking after that. We will support your thoughts on that. Is there anyone else that has anything else to contribute? Trustee Buga.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to ask that our elected co-chairs are also reached out to directly, as I know that they have been waiting on pins and needles to see if they had a role to play coming up right away or not. So just to make sure that those students are also included in communication, that this has been the decision of the board. Thanks.
Thank you. Is that decision of the board being communicated through Superintendent?
Correct.
So point taken that, yes, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. All right. With that, it brings us to item 12 on our agenda, the comment and question period. We had no comments or questions that came forward on the Google form, correct? So we, at this point in time, have a motion to move into camera because I believe there are a few items on there. Okay, would someone be prepared to make that motion? Trustee Reed.
I can motion that we move into a camera.
Thank you. Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you so much. And we will excuse ourselves.